Amanda. This was one of the happiest nights of my life. Our Pearl 30th wedding anniversary and celebrating it with family and friends, many of whom had been at our wedding all of those years ago. Jack was looking particularly handsome. He was always fit and strong. The slight gray at his temples hinted at a future silver fox look, but his piercing blue eyes never changed. I could only hope he looked at me the same way. I was 52 now, but still quite trim, weighing only 7 lbs, more than on our wedding day. I splurged out on an elegant evening dress and new heels for our party and had spent all day getting ready. It was so lovely to greet old friends and our now adult kids, nieces, and nephews. They had done most of the organizing for the evening. We avoided speeches and just told everyone to have a great time. Later, Jack asked me to dance. Everyone stopped to look at us. It was so reminiscent of our wedding night. Jack smiled at me. He looked a little rueful. "Thank you for 30 wonderful years of marriage," I beamed in response. "Thank yourself. You are the perfect husband. I couldn't have been happier with our lives together." "You have been a great wife." I thought Jack's response sounded slightly underwhelming and, well, a bit odd. We continued to dance before he spoke again. "You have done well. I think I only saw you glance at him once all night." "Sorry. What? Who do you mean?" "Don't start telling lies, Amanda. It's beneath you, and after 30 years of devotion, I think I deserve the truth." Silence. "Okay, then, if you're going to play dumb and to prevent any question of doubt, I mean your boss and lover, Martin Davenport. Unlike you, he can't keep his eyes off you." I suddenly felt very sick and thought I might faint. My eyes welled up with tears. I hoped onlookers would think I was overcome with the emotion of our anniversary. "Don't cry, Amanda. You caused this and keep dancing unless you want everyone to know there is a problem." I stopped myself denying anything or asking how he knew. He deserved better than that. "I am sorry." "No, I don't think so. If you were sorry, you wouldn't have kept going back. This is a planned, deliberate, and repeated act." "It's not that simple," my voice trailed off. "It seems simple enough. An affair with your rich boss. How long has it been going on?" "I don't know exactly. A few months, I guess." We continued to dance, all eyes, including our children's, focused on us. God, if they knew what the conversation was about, I'd be mortified. "How often are you seeing him?" "It's not what you think. It's not wild, passionate lovemaking. That's what I have you for." "Then why aren't these things usually about the woman needing more than the husband can offer?" "No, never that. It was more a friendship and comfort than anything else after he lost Lucy. He was depressed. I tried to help him recover." Jack laughed. "How noble. I would imagine you parting your legs was quite the pick-me-up for him." "Don't. It wasn't sordid like that. It was loving and caring. Is it, love? I mean, do you love him, Amanda?" "I have feelings for him. Not like I do for you, though. It's all so confusing now." "It shouldn't be confusing if you love someone enough, and you seem to love me in a manner that allows you to hurt me." "I never meant to do that. I never thought about you finding out." We continued to dance, a few other couples joining in along the edges, again, just like on our wedding night. "Come off it, Amanda. You knew the consequences. It's betrayal of us, regardless of me finding out. Isn't this the bit where you swear undying love for me, say it was all a terrible mistake and that you will never see him again?" "I'm not sure what he would do if I left him. He was really depressed before." "Just unhappy or clinically depressed?" "Don't be so cruel. He wasn't well. I thought he might go as far as ending things." The song wound up. "Well, let's go and speak to the man in question." "Oh my God, you're not going to cause a scene here, are you?" "Depends on what he says." As we approached, Jack looked down at Martin's outstretched hand with a look of disdain and left it hanging there. Martin pulled his hand back with a confused expression. "I'd like you to tell me about your relationship with my wife and just how you have the fucking nerve to turn up to our anniversary party." Martin started to stammer a reply. "I don't know what you're talking—" I interrupted. He knows Martin. There is no point in denying it. Martin nodded, recovering his business-like demeanor quickly. The truth is, I love Amanda. I am sorry it impacts you, but I can't be sorry about my feelings for her. She saved me. If it wasn't for her, kindness, I am not sure if I would still be here. I wasn't trying to be clever about the party. I just thought it would look strange if I didn't show my face. Everyone else from work is here. Really? Using your deceased wife as an angle to seduce a married woman, that's pretty low even for you. That's not what I did. We just grew close through the grief. I was all over the place. What you lost your wife, so took mine, and you were unwell, so it's all okay. Is that the line you are trying to spin? I interrupted. He hasn't taken me. I am still here, and I am still your wife. Jack seethed. We can fix that, my dearest, but I am sure you will fall on your feet or on your back. Lover boy here, you can offer you all the money and trappings now that he had recovered his health. I looked around, worried people were starting to focus on us. You had better leave now before I lose my temper, you little piece of shit. Jack turned to me as Martin left quickly. Keep you game face on for another 30 minutes, and then we will leave. That should be easy enough for you. You're used to lying. I'd rather the kids weren't exposed to this travesty after all the effort they put in for us tonight. I nodded, stifling the sobs as my heart broke for him. Tonight's celebration of marriage seems a fitting end to things, don't you think? I recovered, finding some anger. Don't be so ridiculous. We are not separating over this. We can fix it. With that, I walked briskly away, trying to make it to the toilets before I broke down. I wasn't looking for an affair. I was happily married, after all, to a lovely guy. My boss, Martin, had always flirted, and I found myself liking it, although it was never going further than that. It all changed when his wife Lucy died. He was so sad, you could see the lifeblood literally draining away from him. The gregarious extrovert who had an endless stream of jokes and could make people feel good about themselves eroded away. I tried to cheer him up. We all did. That led to spending some lunches together. It was on the business trips that we grew closer. I knew it was helping him through his grief, and it felt so natural spending time together. Lovemaking was secondary. I thought about telling Jack there was no way he would accept it. Women who do that must be so naive. It's potentially worse than the affair itself, impacting a man's pride and ego, neither things to be taken lightly or dismissed. The truth was, I thought I could get away with it without hurting him, as he would never know. Once Martin recovered, he swept me off my feet. He was so grateful. It was like I could do no wrong in his eyes, and I was his savior. I told myself we needed to stop now that the crisis was averted, but no sooner had I talked sense into myself than he had me laughing and feeling so good again. Martin was more sophisticated than Jack. He had an easy charm and confidence which I liked. He was decisive, and in many ways, the complete opposite to my calm and considered husband. My worst-case scenario was Jack finding out. I thought it through and had my excuses ready, that I was mortified to have hurt him. 100% the truth, by the way, that I loved him more than anything else in the world. I was less certain of that now. I had developed significant feelings for Martin. The truth was, I wasn't sure anymore. If pushed, I would have said I was in love with both men. I was absolutely certain Jack would forgive me. He was so in love and devoted to me. I just couldn't ever see us apart no matter what I had done. How on earth did he find out? We were so careful. He asked me outright on our anniversary. I hesitated, and then I couldn't maintain eye contact. I knew the denials and the anger at being accused were pointless. I sat down with Jack the following day. He looked drained as he turned to me. You don't look too stressed about this. Maybe you don't care. That's not true. I do love you. I care so much about you. And him. Don't forget you care about him. Can't even give up for me. I tried to explain again about Martin depression, the friendship, and the growing feelings. Then Jack surprised me by asking about the purpose of the upcoming business trip. My reply sounded weak even to me. Nothing that couldn't be achieved on a Teams call. So it sounds like this is all very much planned, and the business trip just another ruse to cover your continued affair. I tried explaining it wasn't really an affair. Okay, then cover that you're making love to another man. Ouch, I walked straight into that one. I needed to try and manage more of the conversation, make Jack understand not everything was bad. This was tiny part of our lives. Until you found out, how would you have described our marriage? Happy, content, the perfect marriage everyone thinks we have. That's great. I feel exactly the same. I have my reasons, but I know what I am doing is wrong. Regardless, I have always tried to be the best possible wife to you, and we have a perfect life together. Yeah, except you're making love to another guy and building your perfect marriage on a facade of infidelity and lies. It doesn't have to affect that happiness. We have been good, especially recently. I feel like I have become a better person in some ways, more considerate of others. Yeah, you do seem pretty pleased with yourself. I winced at that. Damn it, Jack, the smart-arse comments aren't helping. How did you find out anyway? So we're teetering on the brink of divorce, and your only concern is how I found out. Is that just so you can cover your tracks better next time? You have said sorry, but you haven't suggested that you will stop seeing him. It's not that simple. I am not sure if he would be okay without me. I think he would slip into another depression. Wow. I guess that lets me know where I stand. Your priority is his welfare. What happens when I get depressed because I have a cheating of a wife? Do I get you back then? I had never seen my kind and gentle husband so angry and certainly never toward me. It scared and saddened me to see him like that. I want you to leave. It's my house as much. Get out now. Just get out, Amanda, before I do something I'll regret. I decided to drive to my best friend's house. Then it dawned on me. Wendy, my closest friend, was the only one I confided in. That must be how Jack had found out. She had threatened to tell him. She must have decided to follow through on that threat. By the time I got there, I could hardly contain myself. I launched into Wendy verbally. Jack has thrown me out. The only way he could have found out is if you told him. I haven't said a word, Amanda. She didn't seem to deny it strongly. How could my best friend betray my confidence and ruin my marriage? Her reply took me by shock. You know what, Amanda? I am Jack's friend as well as yours. I have known him for over 30 years. I told you this was all madness and he didn't deserve any of it. But you have never listened, and I never said a single word to him. I have spent the last 3 months avoiding him so I could keep your tawdry little secret. It's pathetic acting like a love-struck teenager. The only person I have betrayed is him. Now get out of my house. Shit. Getting thrown out was becoming a habit. Where the hell could I go? Going to Mum's would be like the Spanish Inquisition. Going to Martin would surely end my marriage. In the end, it had to be my Mum's and making up a story about a small argument to deflect most of her questions. Wendy, I realized I had to do something important. Really important, even it came at a cost. 20 minutes later, I was knocking on Jack and Amanda's front door. Jack answered. He looked terrible. Please tell me you're not here to plead her case. No, I am here to plead mine and apologize. Jack looked bemused. You had better come in then. I blurted it all out. I am sorry, Jack. I knew she was seeing him. I have been pleading with her to see sense and make her understand what she is risking. I am really sorry for not saying anything. She is my oldest friend, but you're my friend as well. I should have said something. Jack seemed deep in thought. The silence dragged on. Finally, he spoke. I can see how she put you in an awkward situation. Damned if you do and damned if you don't. I smiled. Typical Jack. Calm, considered, kind. Why do you think she did it, Wendy? I think she thought she was saving him, a friendship initially but then blurring into more. Are you sure throwing her out is a good move? Doesn't that give him more opportunity? Jack nodded. Talking wasn't working. She is lost in a Mills and Boone romantic love story. I agree with you. She sees herself as the heroine who saved a good man. So I thought throwing her out might shock her into at least some realization. I have no idea if she wants me or him. She might not realize at the moment, Jack, but it's you she needs. You've always been her strength and support. Amanda. I knew it was dangerous, but I needed help. Martin would know what to do. He was the brightest person I knew. I called. He was delighted to hear from me and suggested we meet. As usual, we agreed to meet outside of work at an upscale restaurant, and I made an effort to get dressed up. I wanted to stay married to Jack, but needed to keep Martin interested in case the worst came to pass. If Jack wouldn't take me back, then Martin would be my fallback plan. He had told me he loved me often enough after all. We had just sat down at the table when Jack and Wendy walked in. I stormed over to them just as they were sitting down. "What are you doing with my husband?" "I would imagine the same as you are with Martin. I did tell you numerous times I thought Jack was a great catch, and if you are stupid enough to throw that away..." "Well," I turned to Jack, "you can't do this. We're married." "A fact you are more than willing to ignore." He looked across at Martin. "It's just dinner with a friend, nothing more. Really nice outfit, by the way. Unless I am mistaken, they are your seamed stockings, and come fuck me heels. I guess tonight is his lucky night, or should I say another lucky night." I felt my face flush. Shit. It wasn't supposed to be like this. It should have been a romantic interlude. Now I was standing in a restaurant, and my husband had just announced to everyone in earshot that I was wearing stockings in preparation for sleeping with another man. Wendy looked down at my legs. "Seamed black stockings. A bit obvious and tardy. Maybe you should try a nurse's uniform. After all, you are supposedly looking after his health." Wendy went on as she turned to Jack and smiled. "Personally, I find nude holdups far more subtle." I saw Jack raise his eyebrows at her. Jesus, she was flirting with him right in front of me. "She told you everything to divide us." "She did no such thing. She tried to be a friend to you at my expense, actually. I hadn't seen her until you accused her the other day. After that, she came over and apologized. She explained you were her oldest friend and that she had tried repeatedly to convince you to see some sense. I've got to say her apology was more convincing than yours." I didn't know what to say. It was just so frustrating. "Go back to your boyfriend, Amanda. We're done." I burst into tears and rushed out of the restaurant. Shit, I was losing him. Even if we managed to stay married, I could see that it would never be the same. I went from feeling loved to the point of being on a pedestal to someone he was struggling to tolerate. I couldn't understand how they knew we would be at the restaurant. It couldn't have been a coincidence. And they were obviously prepared for seeing me with Martin. It was Martin who offered to help again, saying he could explain and smooth things over if we prepared and met Jack together. It sounded like an implausible offer, but I was at the point of trying anything. Jack was always quicker than me in a discussion or argument, but I knew Martin could match him. Jack was shocked when I walked back into my old home with Martin. He stood up. I thought he was going to attack Martin. "You have to be joking. This affects us all, and Martin is here to help explain things properly." It was my turn to be surprised as Jack calmly sat back down. "Well, it's nice there are 3 of us in this relationship. I can't wait to hear this." I ignored his barb and started. "Firstly, I want to apologize to you. It was never my intention to develop a relationship with Martin, and I never meant to hurt you. I know this is hard to believe, but I really do love you." Martin spoke up. "I wish to apologize as well. If I had been in my right mind, I never would have crossed that line. I was ill. I can honestly say without Amanda, I would have taken my own life. She saved me. You look good enough. Is she still saving you, or is she just making love already? You don't get to claim my wife because you were ill. It's still cheating and a complete betrayal." Jack turned and looked at me with those steely blue eyes of his. "You chose him over me." "I never did, but I couldn't abandon a friend in those circumstances." "You could have been a friend without spreading your legs." I ignored the crude remark and started the speech I had prepared with Martin. "This wasn't planned. We just grew close in difficult circumstances, and we have feelings for each other." I am sorry for hurting you. You don't deserve any of this. As I see it, we have a few options. Oh, is that right? Then please do enlighten me. Well, you could divorce me. It's the last thing I want, but I won't try to fight it if that's what you want. The kids are adults now, but they still need you. Need both of us. I'd split the money any way you wanted and trust you to be fair. But that option would destroy all the plans we have for our wonderful life together. I still want to share all of those things with you, if you will let me. And if we divorce, you move in with him? We haven't discussed that, but yes, I think that would be inevitable if you chose to abandon me. You are not the abandoned one in this shit show. I haven't abandoned you. You threw me out. The second option is, I could stop seeing Martin and you forgive me somehow. I am really not sure that is possible. It will eat away at you, and you wouldn't trust me. I couldn't abandon someone I have feelings for in his time of need. I'd never forgive myself. Jack laughed at that. Time of need, really? He is the least depressed guy I have ever seen. He looks like the cat that got the cream. Can't you see he is getting off on this? I tried not to let that comment deflect me, although I could see Martin squirm a little. Or we continue as now. You said you were happy. I want to keep making you happy more than anything else. My relationship with Martin doesn't need to impact you. We remain respectful to each other. Jack started laughing heartily before catching his breath. Respectful, really? You have no clue. I went on. In return, I would accept you going with someone else, even if it's Wendy. I think you are a one-woman man, and doubt if that's for you, but I'd understand if you wanted to do that. I don't want to explore anything beyond you and Martin. We could be honest. I'd be the best wife possible to you both. No running around, no secrets. We'd look to build trust between the three of us. That is the option I'd much prefer. Jack looked at me without blinking. It was as if he could see straight through me. I prefer option 1. Let's divorce. He was so matter-of-fact about it. My heart started pounding in my chest. The reality hit me hard, what I could be losing. I'd agreed to this ultimatum in the belief I had a ready-made fallback plan in Martin, and he might be a better option after all if I already blown things with Jack. Now, I wasn't so sure. One more thing, did he come up with this bullshit? I looked away. Martin looked equally uncomfortable. Jesus, Amanda, you really are taking some shit advice. If I didn't know better, I'd think someone was trying to advise actions to ensure we broke up. You couldn't have said anything more antagonistic if you tried. Martin blustered. This is a perfectly reasonable proposition in the circumstances. You know divorce is my only choice, just as you planned. Tell me, Amanda, apart from you and Wendy, who else knew about your affair? Well, no one. Only Martin. Really, maybe he bragged to a friend or friends about making love to a hot young girl at work. That friend mentioned it to someone else, and suddenly a lot of people knew, and maybe one of those people happened to recognize me. A cynic might assume that someone might have made sure the message got to me. Jack looked at Martin. That's why you came to our party, wasn't it? You knew I had found out, you wanted to see the result, maybe hoped I'd blow it all into the open and you'd be there to pick up the pieces. Nonsense, I knew no such thing. Funny as well how Wendy found out about your little restaurant liaison so quickly, through a friend, seemingly, quite convenient. We went there to try and shock some sense into you, even though you had run straight to your lover. It took me a while to realize he was happy at us being there. I teared up. Why would he do such a thing? He's in love with me. He would never hurt me like that. It's obvious. He wants you all to himself. He's done everything possible to ensure we divorce. He's as likely to agree to sharing you as I am. He wouldn't, tell him, Martin. What does it matter? He's made his choice to abandon and divorce you. We can be together. Jack went on. Were you even depressed, or was that all part of the plan? Of course I was. I'd like to see any medical evidence to confirm that diagnosis. I've already worked out the trail of who told who all the way back to you. I might have let it slip to someone. I wanted to tell the world about us, Amanda. So you feigned an illness, took advantage of her sympathy, pushed to continue the affair, made sure I found out and tried your best to break us up. Does that about sum it up? So what if I did? We are meant to be together. I am a wealthy man, and I want to live life to the full with Amanda. I loved her even when Lucy was alive. The sound of the slap echoed around the room, Martin holding his face. You bastard! Before I had the chance to slap him again, Jack stood up and grabbed Martin by his shirt, Jack Lair lifting him off his feet and ran him forward, crashing him into the front door. Consider yourself fortunate. If I ever see you again, you won't be so lucky. With that, Jack opened the door, lifted Martin to his feet again, and literally kicked him in the ass and out of the house. I started at him in a state of panic. I have been a complete idiot, Jack. I can't believe I trusted him. I will resign and never see him again. It's all a terrible mistake. I forgot what I had in you. All the things you do without even thinking, checking. I am okay giving me a cuddle, your quiet sense of humor and fun, and how you go along with most of my harebrained ideas. Please give me another chance. I can't. You can if you really want to. Is it because of Wendy? No. We just went there to try and shock some sense into you, same as throwing you out, trying to make you see this wasn't a romance story. We're just friends with something in common. We were both betrayed by you. It worked. I was so jealous when I saw you both. It felt like my world was falling apart. After that, I didn't think you were going to take me back, and I stuck with Martin as a fallback plan. I never meant to hurt you. Meant to or not, that's what you have done. You discarded me, made a fool of me and our life together. I am the only fool here, Jack. Please give me another chance. We've had 30 great years together. The lack of anger surprised me. It's too late, Amanda. You wanted somebody else. I wasn't enough for you. It was never that. I was just trying to help a friend. Come off it. You must know you are lying to yourself to ease you conscience. You liked what he was offering. Our life together wasn't enough. You're going to struggle to come to terms with this, but it's pretty simple. You're a lying cheat. Nothing more than that. I think you should go. Please don't make me leave. You go or I do. In the circumstances, it should be you. Don't you think? 6 months later, and we were divorced. Pretty simple. No mess apart from my life. We did it all online. No lawyers, counselors, or courts. I moved out, back to Mum's and a step back in time. It brought back all the memories of living there and being so excited about dating Jack. The memory of my wedding morning and getting ready at Mum's for the best day of my life stung. In the end, I had to confess to friends and the kids. They started to hint that it must have been Jack's fault. After all, he was an attractive guy and had probably played about. Neither my parents or children could believe it at first. It was until I broke down completely that they realized the truth of my betrayal. They didn't disown me, but things were never the same again. Martin tried to contact me on numerous occasions. I never responded. He was an absolute snake. Turns out I was the one who was betrayed by someone who claimed to love me, and it cost me everything I valued. Subscribe to our channel to keep your partner from cheating on you, and listen to the next story because this story is nothing compared to the next.